let's take up that conversation forward. What exactly is the impact on travel tourism, both inbound and outbound? We've got Sunil Kumar, the president at TAAI, joining in on the show right now. Sunil, hi, good morning. Good to have you on the show. Firstly, help us understand what are the prima facie, repercussions of what happened across the LOC between the two countries, India and Pakistan, on both inbound as well as outbound travels, especially from the north.
Thank you very much. There's a big outburst, not just in the industry stakeholders, but amongst the travelers as well. The travelers particularly are looking at certainty of travel, which especially when you talk about north and west part of India, there is this uncertainty that's come up. Now, when you talk about the industry as a whole, particularly in reference to Azerbaijan and Turkey, I see a lot of travel companies deciding to cancel their bookings or deciding not to promote these destinations anymore. There are a couple of reasons for it. Number one, they fear that the number of passengers that would want to travel is now going to be much lower than their expectations. And on the other hand, there is an outburst within the industry stakeholders as well, that why should we go ahead and promote these destinations where they don't stand solidarity in India. So there's a big chaotic situation there, especially because that uncertainty element, as well as people not willing to travel, as well as you go ahead and commit your bookings today, and then you don't have people to go there. Well, I think this is causing that chaos that I'm talking about. And therefore, it has definitely going to be impacting these two countries in terms of outbound from India.
Sad but true. Right or wrong, I'm not getting there. But can I say that, look, Indians this year have consciously decided not to travel to Turkey?
Yes. There's a large cluster of situations that have come up, which very clearly indicate that the preference of these countries is no more in the same category as it was prior to the Pahalgam incident.
What could be the impact? 10%, 15%? More than 25%, just ballpark numbers, but what is the pulse like? I'm trying to understand.
The outburst has started. I'm surely guessing it'll be far beyond 25%, far beyond 25%.
Those who are cancelling, where are they going? Because गर्मी की छुट्टी तो देखिए कोई cancel नहीं करता है, place change कर लेते हैं.
तो अभी देखिए छुट्टी जो जाना है वो तो जाएगा, कहीं ना कहीं जाएगा. There are so many options that have come up. अब देखिए what's happening to the travel to Kashmir and Shimla. This is a very important period for these two states to get a lot of domestic travel. Most of them are situating or are shifting towards northeast now, and therefore that shift will happen. I'm not saying people are going to be sitting at home and not wanting to travel. They would prefer locations where there is certainty of definite travel, and they would find more comfort. And they would not want to go ahead and get into a situation of uncertainty. That's why I started off saying that people who spend a lot of money are going to look at safe places to go, places where they believe their hard-spent money is well invested.
Absolutely. But Sunil, help us understand, I'm going to just purely first talk about domestic travel here. Like you rightly said, that, these northern states, this was just the start of the summer peak travel and tourism, season for them. Where is, that lot of tourists actually making their rebookings to?
Right now, there's a wait and watch period. The ceasefire announcement came in at a point of time where the whole hype was created about not knowing how long this scenario would continue. And at that point of time, please study the mind of the traveler. The traveler is guided by what happens in terms of airports getting closed, what happens in terms of flights getting cancelled, what happens in terms of the war thickening or the pre-war thickening. Now, at this point of time, ceasefire came in as a sudden announcement. It wasn't something that everybody anticipated would happen. Post ceasefire, again for a day, there was some kind of uncertainty that got created. And now everything is quiet, and the government has announced that these airports would open up, and they are functioning right now. Now the question is, the mind of a traveler has gone through certain phases of question marks, which is very important for us to recognize and acknowledge. And therefore, during that period of time, people have decided to move away from these states to maybe Northeast, if you're talking about domestic, because that's one area there where I find Darjeeling, Kalimpong, Gangtok, it's a high sell area right now. And this season is a peak season for domestic travel. Now, with that happening, with the uncertainty on one side and this happening on the other side, it's quite obvious that it had to happen that way. Now, once that was in progress, then the ceasefire comes in. And now for the last couple of days, we find everything is going back to normal. There are conventions that are being held, which were thought they would be cancelled. They're not getting cancelled. So the confidence is coming back. So we are at a transition point between what is called a confused situation vis-a-vis a situation with much greater clarity. Now, if this prevails for maybe a week or two, then I guess those traveling in the later part of June, well, I don't think they would want to move away from where they would originally want to travel, particularly to the north and west.
But with respect to the domestic travel, Kashmir was also one of the top favorite destinations, and post what has actually happened, the government has gone ahead and shut some of those tourist spots as well. Help us understand what is the latest situation, as well as you were actually talking about the mindset of the traveler, and that has definitely taken a hit. How long will it take back for the people to actually try and once again look at that particular destination?
In 2018, allow me to mention this, that amidst a lot of odds, Travel Agents Association of India decided to do their convention in Srinagar. It was a 4-day convention added with a 2-day pre and a 2-day post. So for almost a week, we brought people from all over the country. Now, who are these people? These are the people who are tour operators. They are travel agents. They were brought into Srinagar. And that was the beginning of a tourism rebound happening in Srinagar, in Kashmir. We just didn't stay with Srinagar. We went far beyond Srinagar. And for the last few years, we saw how Srinagar multiplied, barring the days when there was a COVID, and that was a limited period of time though. And especially last year and this year, the way the trend started at the beginning of the year, Srinagar was like fully booked. It was very difficult for people to plan a large group travel unless they had planned for it much earlier. The prices of the hotels, the cost of the tour was also high, but people were still wanting to go because in these last few years, it became a favorite destination. But then this incident happened and the fear psycho took over the people's mindsets. And then you start the damage being done to the tourism of Jammu and Kashmir. So all I could say is that it will take a long time for this to come back. And that long time will again require a lot of effort by the government of J&K to prove to people that it's a safe location. They need to make sure that it's a safe destination to travel. They need to make sure these incidents don't happen again. And it will take time. Believe you me, it will take time. So this season is not going to be a good season for them. It's not just the stakeholders of the travel and tourism industry. It is the people of Jammu and Kashmir who are dependent on tourism as an industry that takes care of their bread and butter. So what I'm trying to say is that this transition will take some time, and it will be, to get back to this status will not be easy for Jammu and Kashmir.
So to wrap it up with one simple point, are we in for recovery in Kashmir after the ceasefire? Do you see what has been lost could be made up? It could extend as a season for another 15-20 days, but whatever loss has been, will that normalize?
Well, I don't see it's beyond being made up. We can certainly bring back that situation that prevailed before, but it will not happen now. All I continue to say is it's not going to be easy for us to expect the turnaround to happen immediately, unless and until, please observe the mind of the traveler. I bring that back again and again. There's an investment of time, there's an investment of money, and I don't want to do that, to go to a place where I'm not fully confident of my safety, of my security, my family and my children's security. So this confidence to come back into people will surely take some time.
All right, Sunil, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.